What's up, everybody? Amanda and Nelson here for Accounting and Accountability, and we're on a totally different set this week.
Yep.
Where are we, Nelson?
We are at the AFANS conference in Melbourne, Australia.
Now, for those of you playing at home who do not understand what AFANS is, it is the Accounting and Finance Association of Australia and New Zealand. So if you're an accounting and finance student out there, some of your educators, subject coordinators, teachers are probably out there having lunch,
Yes.
mingling. What do we come to AFANS for?
So many reasons. One is sort of network, see what's happening in terms of cutting edge research, as well as
Teaching innovations, things that we can bring back to the classroom around news. There's some really good stuff.
Yeah.
So part of what we do, 40% of Nelson's job is teaching,
Yep.
40% of his job is research, and we try and combine those two at these types of conferences. So it's been a big news week.
It has.
What sort of things are we seeing in the news?
Okay, so one of the really big stories of the past week or so is the pending collapse of the Celsius network. So Celsius Network is a lending company that basically promises to deliver really high returns to lenders, as well as really low costs to borrowers. And so Celsius involves basically...
Hang on, that sounds like a bank, right?
Yeah, so it is a lending institution, but it focuses predominantly on crypto. So
Okay.
if you wanted to if you wanted to be a lender, you can deposit your crypto with Celsius, and you get returns as high as like 18%.
What?
Yeah, pretty amazing. Compared to like the 2% you'd get at like at banks at most, right?
Yeah.
At the big four. And on the other hand, if you're a borrower, you could borrow for as little as like 1%.
Wow.
And the money that they make is basically through the mining activities that they fund.
Oh, I was trying to figure out, because normally you would, borrow money, you would lend out money at, say, 10%,
Yeah.
pay your investors 5%,
Yeah.
and then you'd make the difference in profit.
Yeah.
But here
It's like the reverse.
it's like the reverse. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, that's why they're pending collapse.
When the business model doesn't make sense from an accounting perspective,
you're in a bit of trouble.
you're in a bit of trouble.
So what went wrong exactly?
Well, it turns out, I think according to Nelson's research, they had $19 billion of assets,
Yeah.
but $1 billion of equity. And if we think about the accounting equation, assets equals liabilities plus owner's equity, that means that you might have had $18 billion worth of liabilities. But
Yeah.
remember, the $19 billion of assets in crypto probably actually wasn't $19 billion of assets.
Well, not anymore.
Not
The
anymore.
recent crypto crash, you've got Bitcoin that dropped.
We've got, 70%? Crypto is down 70%.
Yeah, massive.
So then you've got a problem in which all these people who invested crypto are expecting their return.
Yes.
You're not going to be able to give it to them.
Yeah. So basically, what Celsius did was froze all the withdrawals from their customers because they're like, we don't have the liquidity right now to do it.
So that's what,
Yeah.
from a more traditional perspective, when a bank says we can't let you take out any more money, they're having potentially what you call a run on the bank.
Yeah.
So when people are worried that there might not be cash, they go to the banks and then take out cash, which creates this sort of spiral in which then the institution says, that's it, we're stopping. Okay.
Yeah, but I guess the fundamental issue is they were too highly levered.
Too highly leveraged.
Way too much debt, not able to pay it off now
Yeah.
because of the fluctuation in crypto prices.
All right, Nelson, move your microphone closer.
Oh, yep.
You got to remember this. Now,
Yes.
the second biggest scandal is auditors doing bad things again.
Yes. Who would have thought? The auditors. So, Ernst & Young, they've had to pay a $100 million settlement because around 49 of their staff were caught cheating on ethics exams. So they were basically collecting the solutions from the test bank of that ethics exam and then passing it on to others that would use it to therefore cheat. So what's the irony in all this?
Well, the irony in all this is that auditors are meant to be the gatekeepers. We're meant to be an ethical profession. We have an ethical standard, APS 110, for all those students out there who are looking at. That applies to all different accountants, not just auditors. But we are meant to be the gatekeepers of making sure that people are behaving properly. And this isn't the first time. This is the second instance within a couple of years. The first one was at KPMG here in Australia. This is an EY US issue, but the last one was KPMG Australia, where realistically, if we think back to the fraud triangle, do you remember the three components of the fraud triangle?
Yes. Opportunity, rationalization, and incentive.
Yes. And so in this instance, we don't know a lot really about how this came about,
Yes.
but I would imagine or speculate that it would be something like time is money.
Yeah.
And so we're all ethical, and what we'll do instead is rather than sit the 2-hour ethics module and do the test, even in a lot of instances, the KPMG one, it was open book, so you could still search the internet while you were doing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That you could save time
Just
by getting the answers and cheating on the quiz to then go back to billable hours.
Yeah, I guess the other ironic thing is it was an ethics exam.
It was an ethics exam.
Testing basically your honesty. So.
Testing. And your independence and
all those things.
All those different things. So there's certainly a big issue here, and it doesn't paint us in a good light.
No, it does not.
And look, this is only a very small proportion of auditors, but again, mud sticks. So we're sort of in a bit of it's never a good look.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, we won't talk about what we've been getting up to this week because, getting Thai served by robots.
Yes.
That was on my Instagram. We've been networking with our colleagues, catching up, having dinner. It's our first in-person conference in a few years. So, there's been no time for Netflix. Have you had time for Netflix?
I have not had time.
No time for Netflix. Plus, of course, responding to all your student queries about results.
Absolutely.
So, what else is happening in the world this week?
Today is 5th of July, Tuesday, and this is the first Tuesday of the month, and this is when the RBA meets. And the RBA...
The Reserve Bank of Australia.
They are expecting to hike rates, and there's about a 77% chance, according to the money market, that it's going
77%?
Yeah, that's going to be a 50 basis point hike.
Ooh.
It's going to get to 1.35%.
Ooh.
So we're expecting quite a bit more pressure on households.
Well, that'll drive property prices down a little bit.
Absolutely.
But you'll certainly see a contraction in spending, I think, as our mortgage and our rental. So if you're renting, it's likely owned by somebody who has an investment property. They're probably going to, you might be in a contract, but if you're not, you might see some rent price rises as well.
Pretty high, increasing borrowing costs. The banks have already started passing on. CBA already passed on that rate rise to their customers at the time.
So it could be 0.25, could be 0.5.
Yep, but we're expecting most likely 0.5.
Yeah.
Potentially 0.75 depending on...
And look, it's not going to be, this is not a short-term thing. I was watching ABC News Breakfast this morning, and they're thinking that inflation might start to taper off towards the end of the year. So who knows how many other rate rises are coming to help put that downward pressure on.
But speaking of inflation, we might have... for those
While it's supposed to be trying to put down inflation with rate rises.
Matters happening. So what's been happening?
Look, man, it's just as we thought we'd been done with all the rain, another rain bomb, and we've seen, I think it's up to 90,000 people under evacuation orders, massive amounts of flooding, Richmond, the Hawkesbury, and even once it stops raining, the problem is that the rain starts to, all of that water has to go somewhere into our catchment areas, and we've got massive flooding again and road closures, and it's a big safety issue. But
in terms of supply prices,
Wiseman's Ferry, all of those places, farming, heartland.
Agriculture hugely impacted. So we're seeing big impacts in wheat and canola. So think about wheat as like sort of rice, pasta, that kind of stuff, and so bread. So we're expecting price yields to be 50% of what they were previously.
So yield is how much they manage to get out of their growth of their crop. So if we're getting 50% less wheat and other canola, that sort of thing, plus we've got the issues around supply coming out of Eastern Europe because of the war in the Ukraine.
Things are going to get more expensive.
Things are going to get your bread, your meat pies. Your meat pies are going to get more expensive. Your noodles are going to get more expensive. So, and it's not helping with vegetables. So the Hawkesbury River region is where we grow a lot of fruit, vegetables, hydroponic growth of lettuces, tomatoes. So, you thought the situation was bad and you're eating a lot of cabbage. Even the prices of cabbage could go up as a result of this. So it's really going to be interesting times. And I'm sure we'll see a growth or explosion in TikToks and Instagrams of what you can do instead of a salad to stay healthy, and trying to figure out how to grow your own at home a little bit more. So Nelson, are you going to grow your own veggies?
Well, I live in an apartment, so it'd be a bit hard. Plus my balcony is really windy.
I've got some veggie gardens growing, but they're a bit a bit messy at the moment, so I need to clear those out and start thinking about that. I've got lots of lemons. Not that lemon's going to be not going to be helpful as a vegetable.
Not helpful as a vegetable. You could make a nice sort of what?
What is gin made out of? Gin. I don't know. Is it sugar? Oh, that's well. So our camera guy is telling us sugar. As a yes. So it's going to push up beer prices.
Yeah.
So my lemons might be useful for gin. But we're going to be a little bit stuck. So it's tough.
Lemon water.
Lemon water.
Super healthy.
We're all surviving on lemon water. This is like it's a forced cleanse caused by inflation, floods, and reduced produce. So just expect those prices. Budgeting always comes in handy again, as we've talked about on previous shows. Put that budget together.
Yeah.
If you're a student coming to uni, think about bringing your own lunch.
Yes.
And remember, if you are bringing like noodles, the cup of noodles. We have the kitchen, there's numerous kitchens around the university where you can get hot water for your noodles as well. Just bring chopsticks from home, I reckon.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Well, this is us signing off from Melbourne.
And everyone in Sydney's staying safe.
Yeah, I don't know what we're going to do next week. I'm on vacation next week.
You are on vacation. Yeah.
What do you... Nelson, you'll have to get a co-host. You'll have to find a co-host.
I don't know if we'll be able to do
We could do a show on Instagram Live if I could get you on Instagram. I don't know. Do you think we should if you think Nelson should get himself on Instagram, let us know in the comments. It's results release week, of course, so if you are a bit unsure about your results or you want to know how to query them, check out our show from last week, and we'll see you all later.